Okay, strategy. Deal in reality. I don't know how to like phrase this any differently, but this maybe kind of goes to Ben's comment, so it was a good lead in. Deal in reality, right? So is a $150,000 remodel that you need to permit, that you have structural changes with, is it real? Are you really going to be in and out of that in 4 months? You know, I see that all the time, right? Because I think not just in flipping, but I think a lot of time in life, you kind of want the story to be different than it really is. And so you start telling yourself a different story for yourself than it really is, and you start telling yourself a different story for how it's going to play out, and it makes you feel better in the moment, but it doesn't do you any good, right? So deal in reality the best you can. And so one thing that Ben said that I've tried to do, and you know, planning and then keeping good data on all your stuff. Like I've gone back and looked about, you know, what my average price per square foot remodel cost is, how long it actually takes me. So I'm tracking when I buy it, when I start the rehab, when I finish the rehab, when I sell it, how long it takes me to sell, right?
Doesn't it always take longer?
Not always, but it can. But once you've done it a few times and you track and you know your habits, then you can know how long it really takes you. And you can't compare yourself to how long it takes Alan to do a house, because Alan may be better than I am, right? Or Brian, or you know, or whatever, right? Like you got to compare with what resources and strengths and capabilities you have, learn from them and get better, but then be realistic, because it goes back to the first slide about knowing your numbers. If you're basing your numbers off of someone else's abilities, you're toast, right? So deal in reality. Do you have enough money, right? If you're starting to flip and it's a $150,000 remodel and you only have 50 grand, but you're just figuring, I'll figure it out. You may figure it out, but it may take you 3 months to figure it out while the house is sitting there. So deal in reality. Is your scope of work accurate? Okay, number 2. Okay, so sometimes the strategy, honestly, is you've prepared, you've planned, you just got to roll the dice and go, right? I see this all the time. Someone's like, I want my first flip, I want my first flip. I've gone all the classes, I did it. Sometimes it's not perfect. You just got to let it roll and see what happens. Learn and network, that's why we're all here. That's part of strategy, right? Learn from others. I mean, and sometimes the easiest solution to your problem is the one that you don't want to do. It's like, you know, eating healthy. It kind of sucks to eat healthy because it's not easy to eat healthy, right? Like exercising isn't fun because, you know, it's harder to exercise. But if you don't know how to flip, you know how to walk around a house, you know how to drive, like go follow other people that are doing it. Go walk in their houses, go talk to their contractors, go find out what they do. This is all free. Go to YouTube. I mean, you guys are all here, so everyone's taking steps to get better. I mean, it's almost 9 o'clock on a Thursday, right? So that's good. Everyone's willing to learn and network. Okay, number 4. Okay, this one's big. This one's huge. And this, you know, we could go on for days about this one. How does it change doing 1 versus 10, 20, or 30? So that's kind of the graphic of this guy juggling balls, right? If he's running and he's flipping one house and he's just kind of throwing a ball, that's not too hard, right? You can do that. He can do that going backwards. He can go and do it forwards. Say you got 2 flips going on. Now all of a sudden you need twice the money, right? You need now 2 crews, right? Okay, so now let's do 3. Okay, now it's a little harder. You can't maybe, so on my final slide, the 5 qualities of an amazing flipper, you really need to be able to do, 10, 20, or 30 as well as you can do 1 and as quick as you can do 1 to be super, super successful and make a ton of money flipping. That's my opinion anyway. Okay, so then depending on your strengths and weaknesses, is less more, or is more less, or is less more? I know many flippers in this valley that do super high volume, and my opinion is they'd be way better off doing like 5 instead of 30. You know, flipping and doing deals can be like, you know, a drug. Like it can be like cocaine. You know, it's like, I want to say yes, I want to say yes, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. And then all of a sudden they've created this big mountain of stuff that, like, the one shovel that they had is just not going to cut it, but they don't have time to go get the backhoe, right? And so One example of this that I like to show is starting back in May of 2010, and this isn't fully updated because we've had some losses here even this year. These are all the losses I've had on houses. So all in all, some of these were in partnerships, but we've lost $500,000 flipping houses. So if you want to know how to lose money flipping, we can do a class on that. And so I have lost a ton of money on houses. I mean, we lost, where is it, on one of these it was like 90 grand, you know, like we've lost so much money on houses. And you know why we did? Some of it was the market, which I'm totally great with that. That's totally fine. If we evaluated it right, but the market changed on us, that's okay. But a lot of these losses are from this. We were doing 60 houses a year for multiple years, and we'd go back to my strategy of planning where we didn't know it, but a lot of our plan was to have a house and sit on it for 9 months before we started it because we had too many balls in the air. We had too many other houses we were doing, right? I was going out to lunch with breakfast with Matt. That's why I couldn't tell him anything because I had too many balls in the air. And I'm like, I can't. Anyway, so you can lose a lot of money if you don't plan and have a good strategy, and you're running faster than you can handle. So all in all, that's 35 houses that I've lost money on. I figure it's about 10%. If you're doing a lot of volume, I don't know how to do it without losing money every once in a while.
That's only 10% of your projects. What would you do to correct this in looking back at it and saying, how do we fix this?
Of those 35, I honestly think 15 to 20 of them, we nailed it. Like the market just, remember when Obama's like tax credit thing, like the market dropped then, we lost money on houses then. But really, the other part of it was we just were too excited doing too many, and we didn't have the resources, we didn't have the crews, we didn't have that kind of stuff. So it got out of hand fairly quick. So don't be afraid to lose money either. It's gonna happen, and you're gonna learn from it, and you're gonna bounce back. And if 10% were losers, I would say 20 to 30% did way better than we thought, and then the other 40 to 50 to 60 were right about where we thought they'd come in.